This man just uploaded a video to Instagram circling the Federal Reserve building in New York, pointing out many mysterious things about it, which are pretty hard to fathom. His channel is called Old Good Thing, and he was impressed by the ironwork of this thing. All the windows have these giant iron grates. They don't want anyone getting in. It's made of solid sandstone and limestone from within the States. It's said to have the biggest gold deposits in the world. In the vault at the bottom of this thing is freaking gold, dude. I'm talking gold. Lots of it. But did you notice the address? Check out the top corner. The address, 33 Liberty Street, 33. There's 33s all over the building. Then it also has, he called them dog heads. The comments were saying, no, that's a dragon head. And I could only find like 2 pictures of it being built. I'm sure there's hundreds somewhere, but I couldn't find them very easily. And the question many people are wondering in the comments is why we don't build stuff like this anymore.
Have you experienced anything spooky?
Yeah, one of the people that we connected with was Stephen Greer. We went out to his place. We're just having these meetings with him, seeing if, like, are you legitimate? Some of the guys that were out there, just witnessing to them. One of the questions that was asked, if all of these things about the crimes and these compartments and this and that is true, why aren't you? And he said, well, I'm protected. If anybody tries anything, they will be dealt with quickly. Steven said that.
Wow.
Yeah. So the second night there, I have a dream. There is a doorway. It was very, very black. And there's things standing there. And he just says, you can have anything you want. I just start saying, I reject that in Jesus' name. And every time that I would say that, this thing started going like, careful, careful. And so I pulled myself awake, and then something jumped on me in the bed. Physically fighting. I finally get out. Jesus, I could feel this presence leave the room, go down the stairs and out the front door.
Was this at Steven's house?
Yes, it was in one of the guest bedroom.
Is that the thing that's protecting him?
Went home the next day, and in the dream of that night, I was back at Greer's place. Walk in his front entrance, and there's a woman standing, and she's just staring at me. She turned to this like 12, 15 foot thing. I could feel hatred. Whoa. And then I looked over. Greer was this body completely black. Yeah. So another time I visited his house, I presented an edited version, and he said, oh, those are the warriors. I have these entities, and he said they protect. Yeah. We felt that the reason that occurred was because I was sharing the gospel.
I have really tried to behave with this Columbia earthquake, but what did I just find?
Ay, qué fierro. ¿Qué es saber?
Little orb, a star, weather balloon. Then I remembered, and you may remember, when I tracked the H-bells last year.
I don't understand how nobody's talking about this, but there is a hot air balloon.
The ones that aren't your typical Roswell weather balloons. Side note, there's a company called Sky, and they make these, and they have them launch from Roswell. I'm not making this up. But back to our H-bells. These are made by Aerostar, and they're called Thunderhead stratospheric platforms. They can stay airborne for months. They can change altitude to catch different wind currents. They can carry communications, sensing payloads, operators, coordinated networks. I am not going to say spy balloons. Aerostar has a serious relationship with the US military, with past exercises, kitting out Thunderheads with really nifty tech. So I look up our H-bells, and lo and behold, there was one around Columbia on the day of the quake. No, there were 2. I'm sorry. There were 3 Aerostar stratospheric balloons operating in the broader Western Columbia region, and one of them came less than 30 kilometers from the epicenter, less than 3 hours before the rupture happened. So I pulled the flight tracks, and I analyzed them. I really analyzed them. H-bell 790 passed within 30 kilometers of that location, precisely 2 hours and 57 minutes before this 7.4 earthquake. So then I thought, do these balloons just happen to fly close to earthquakes? Nope. No, they don't. So this August the 10th one kind of stands out, which does not mean the balloons caused the earthquake. So I'm thinking, I wonder what our friends, the US military, are doing anything in the area on August 10th. Bingo! Panamax 2026. Panama hosting, Colombia co-leading the air component with the United States Southern Command. And on August 5th, this official US military photo shows American and Panamanian personnel posing with a high-altitude balloon. So Panamax is a very plausible explanation for our American, not spy balloons, operating around Panama and Western Colombia on August the 10th, right? Right? Can I prove these exact H-bells were part of Panamax? No. But it seems plausible. I find the whole thing very spooky. But spooky seems to be able to be explained here. Oh, and our original orb? I think it was Venus.
When you consider what the elites allegedly worship, and the fact that it's pretty clear that we're being lied to about history, it really shouldn't surprise you that we live in a post-cataclysmic reptile world. And I don't mean a bunch of lizards everywhere. What I'm saying is the whole world, at one point in history, worshipped serpents. They've left behind so much artwork that many of you who are listening to me right now have almost certainly picked up a stone and thought, that looks like a snake in some form. And that's because the majority of their art was symbolism related to serpents and snakes and dragons. This one appears to be belonging to the 60-degree effigies, and that really interesting design in the center isn't a coincidence. In fact, all this art that I'm talking about follows a very strict geometric standard. Now, I'm not sure where this is at, but I have my own examples of things that look very similar to this. And one thing I've noticed is a lot of these results can be reproduced all over the world. So if you're curious about this yourself, go look in the streams. A lot of these stones are geometrically the same.
You see a lot of people in the Hollywood industry and in the occult, and it's laced with symbolism. Whether they're covering their face with their hand, and it's like the one eye symbolism, or the hand signals that they do, and a lot of people don't really know what symbolism is. The symbolism can be traced back to the Tower of Babel, because when God confused their languages and divided them by language, the occult still wanted to be able to communicate with one another, but they have all these different languages. So what symbolism is basically them recreating the Tower of Babel, all being unified under one language, but the language is symbolism itself.
I've never seen this in the UK, never in London. I mean, Hyde Park! Nah, this is just too far.
At what point should we start to panic? Because records are being shattered around the world right now. The US just recorded their hottest month ever, beating the previous record set all the way back in 1936. 2/3 of England is now in severe drought. Yes, that England, after they just had their driest July since records began.
Moms and think I'm at the beach, bro.
China's largest desert just flooded after having its heaviest 24-hour downpour in recorded history. Meanwhile, Europe's rivers are having the opposite problem. They have fallen to record lows, which not only can be seen from space, but the dropping water levels are revealing all sorts of incredible discoveries. Global ocean temperatures just reached their highest ever in both June and July. In one single week, Japan, China, and the Philippines were hit with not one, not two, but 3 major storms, and France just had their worst wildfires ever recorded. But the craziest part, man, is this could just be the beginning, because meteorologist Ryan Moore suggests that the current Super El Nino gathering in the Pacific will be, quote, perhaps the strongest in 500 to 1,000 years, and could legitimately be the most extreme global weather or climate event experienced by humanity since the invention of the printing press.
Back in the 1970s, San Antonio was terrorized by countless reports of a giant creature that has roots in many tribal legends. The reports started when 2 police officers in the Rio Grande Valley reported seeing a bird with a 20-foot wingspan over their patrol car. People just brushed it off, assuming it was some kind of perception trick, but then 2 girls reported seeing the same thing. The reports continued all the way from the border up into San Antonio from 1975 to 1976. Notably, 2 school teachers in San Antonio reported seeing the bird, along with 2 soldiers. One person was even transported to the hospital in a state of shock after what he claimed was a giant bird attack. But today, those sightings continue. Countless people across Texas and northern Mexico can recount seeing this giant and unexplainable creature, and the Curiosity Corner team found some of those people.
We remember exactly what we saw. It wasn't like just some little bird. Like people will say, well, maybe it's a vulture. No, this is no vulture. This is like a human-sized bird.
A lot of people don't realize, particularly the general public, that the movies, the incredibly successful franchise, the 3 MIB movies, were actually based upon real reports of people being visited by men in black after having UFO experiences. Now, although the movies were incredibly popular, they actually presented somewhat of a distorted image of the real men in black. In the movies, Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones's characters, whose names are J and K, they come across as secret agents of some secret arm of the government. And that's certainly how they're portrayed. But when we speak to the witnesses, they tell a very different story. They talk about the men in black looking very, very strange, very often pale or sort of olive-skinned. They wear these large wraparound sunglasses, and people talk about how, when they've looked closely at them, their eyes seem to be overly large. And they don't seem fully aware of our mannerisms or our language. And this has given rise to the idea that there's some sort of alien entity that looks enough like us to where they can maneuver amongst us, but also to where if we would take a good look at them, we would think, wow, there's something not right about that person. So, in other words, the real Men in Black seem to have origins that are far more different and far stranger than the government.
Right. Now, you were just 11 years old when you became interested in this whole enigmatic Men in Black, as you say in your book. Take us back to that time, Nick, when, you got all fired up about this subject.
Yeah, well, what kicked it all off for me, I've never had sort of a personal, really life-changing UFO experience, but my dad was in the British Royal Air Force, worked on radar as a radar mechanic. He was involved in several UFO incidents in the 50s, and the unit was told not to talk about this.
So that was the weirdest I have ever experienced in my life. The guys in the white truck, all tactical my life, with all the tactical gear. The guys in the black SUV, they're all in civilian clothes, but carrying everything. They knew my name. They knew my name. My phone is 3/4 full. All right, I have 3/4 battery. My phone turned off the moment they pulled up next to me. My phone went dead. What the just happened? So I don't know whether you can see, but I've got a car closing in on me. See that? He is coming up fast. And right here, people, is Area 51. He's coming up fast. Oh, there's a lot of cameras. Wonder if he stopped. He's not moving. Wait. It just looks like a few porta cabins, and some barbed wire. But there's a lot of signs that says if you cross this point, you will be and it's silent. But you can guarantee someone's watching you. He ain't moved. He's been following me all the way up here, and now he's just... But he's still... Okay, let's see what this guy's all about. Now, you see that? Now he's driving. The f*** is that? Okay, now I've got a black truck that's blocking the road above.
Did you guys know one of the biggest mysteries in Antarctica was this giant egg that nobody knew what it came from? So in 2011, there was these scientists that discovered this old fossil in Antarctica that looked like a deflated football. For nearly a decade, it sat in an unlabeled and unstudied part of Chile's National Museum of Natural History, with scientists only referring to it by its nickname from a sci-fi movie, The Thing. Eventually, researchers from a museum in Texas discovered that this fossil was a giant hatched soft-shell egg from about 68 million years ago. At more than 11 by 7 inches, this was the largest soft-shell egg ever discovered, and actually the second largest egg in the world from any known animal, the first being the extinct elephant bird. And so the animal that produced this egg would have had to be at least 23 feet long, not counting its tail. The most likely animal that they think this came from is a mosasaur. The rock formation where this egg was discovered hosts skeletons from baby mosasaur and plesiosaur, along with other adult specimens. However, before this, mosasaurs were thought to give live birth instead of laying eggs. But apparently both can be true at the same time, as they are thought to instantly hatch as soon as they left the mother, which is so crazy. It's such a crazy animal. It potentially lays eggs, it has a second set of teeth on the roof of its mouth like a snake, and it had to surface like a whale to breathe air. And overall, it's just crazy that we had a predator like this in the ocean.
Almost 200 feet underground, they just found a multi-level labyrinth the size of 51 football fields in Hawara, Egypt. Like, what? Some people are saying that this is greater than the pyramids itself. So basically, they are using a ground-penetrating radar scan And not only are they picking up this multi-level labyrinth with all these connecting tunnels and about 30 chambers on each level, and these chambers aren't small. Some of them can fit a Boeing 747 with the wings. I had to go look that up. That is huge. Okay, not only are they picking that up, but they're also picking up this 40-foot metallic-like tic-tac shaped object. Okay, the radar is picking up this metal that's nowhere in our database, which means it's a metal that's not from this earth. Okay, interesting. If you've ever been to Egypt like I have, you would know that there are so many shafts above ground that could take you underground, but so many of them we're not allowed to explore. It makes me wonder how much more is down there that we don't know, you know? But this labyrinth, yeah, that one is crazy.